Welcome to Creative Bath Lab. Today I'm doing bath bombs based on Day of the Dead, which is a colorful and festive Mexican celebration held in honor of the deceased and to welcome spirits home. These bath bombs are beautiful and festive on the outside and on the inside. First up are the embeds, which will go inside the bath bombs, making a colorful explosion of foam in the water. You can add liquid color now, but for multiple colors, wait until the mix is divided to add color powder. Add wet in slowly while whisking, the slower the better. Then rub mix between your hands to make sure ingredients are evenly distributed and fully incorporated. I use the mini sombrero for color inspiration. Here I'm dividing the mix. I'm making blue and blue-green. Cover extra mix that's not being used to slow drying. This is an embed maker. The mold comes with 2 plates, one flat one and one with protruding blocks. Fill the mold with the flat plate on bottom. Pack the mold and make the top as flat as possible. Once the mold is packed all the way, place the other plate on top. From there, squeeze the entire mold together. I found a very effective way of doing this without straining my wrists, and I wanted to share it with you, but please know that this is not proper use of the mold. Once packed on one side, I flip it over and then pack it again. After I switch the 2 plates, then pack it once more. These embeds are going to be well packed and very sturdy. Once the mold has been fully packed, take both plates off. You'll notice one side is sunken in a bit more than the other. Place the sunken side face down on the plate with the blocks and push down. Once the embeds come out just a bit, pack them back in. This makes the embeds even stronger. Now, push down one side at a time until the embeds rise. Once the embeds are halfway out, you can push the entire mold down to release the embeds. Place them on a flat surface and dry for 24 hours. Place exterior mix in mold and hollow out a shell. Then place 4 or 5 embeds in and cover with mix. Add a few more embeds and more mix. Then pack the mix and place loose mix on top. Once both sides are full, smush them together to meet in the middle. I know you're not supposed to twist the molds, but I do short, quick twists in order to squeeze mix out so that the molds touch all the way around. Tap both sides of the mold to release the bomb. Dry the bombs for 24 hours. You can put embeds in any size mold. Of course, the smaller the mold, the less embeds you can put, until finally there's the smallest size mold, which only takes 1 embed. To paint the bombs, you'll need alcohol, mica, and a paintbrush. Again, I'm basing my colors off of the mini sombrero. You'll need black for the skull, and I recommend a pale color for the initial design and a cup of alcohol to rinse the brush with. I started with cheap brushes, which is totally fine, then tried my good brushes. The difference was phenomenal. Quality brushes have a big belly that holds lots of liquid and a tip that goes into a fine point. If you're like me, you'll also need inspiration and a few examples to get started. Speaking of inspiration and examples, I'd like to show you a few of mine. This is the first one I painted, Uno. I looked at each one and came up with a name and age based off their characteristics. Always start with your ugliest bomb. Painting improves with each bomb, so save the prettiest ones for last. I highly recommend painting a rough draft in a very pale color. Once you're satisfied, go over it in black. This allows you to make corrections. The easiest way to paint teeth is to simply paint a few vertical lines. Or you can paint each tooth in detail. I'm going to show you a few different face designs and tips and tricks to master any style. This is a simple design. If you plan on painting shapes around the eye, start there first. Then paint the forehead with similar designs. The trick is to paint the entire face in intricate detail, but make sure to leave enough white space so the design elements don't look cramped. After, fill in empty spaces on the rest of the face with repeating patterns. This is a flourished face design. If you want to paint eyebrows or a mustache, paint those first. Then fill in the forehead and the rest of the face. Paint skinny flourishes and some dots to dress up plain eyes without taking up too much room. Freehand flourishes are easy. Simply start in the center of the forehead and work outwards, filling empty space with whimsical swirls. Then go back and add small dots. Dots are a great way to take up more empty space. They also make details look more intricate and harmonize the flourishes so they look like a whole design instead of random flourishes everywhere. This is a vines and leaves style face. Paint wavy, whimsical lines on large empty spaces and add leaves and small round stems. Again, the key is to paint details in empty areas while leaving just enough white space around each detail. Fill in the rest of the empty areas. You can always add small curls and dots to take up more space. This is a floral face style. First, paint designs around the eyes. I thought it'd be cute to paint leaves for top lashes and petals for bottom lashes. Now add the primary design, which is flowers here, to the rest of the face, keeping a bit of empty room around each one. Then fill in small spaces with secondary design, which is leaves. If there's still empty space, add swirls and dots. I recommend using no more than 3 different colors per face. I usually use one dominant color and one accent color for small dots and curls. I also wanted to show you a floral design on a much smaller face. Essentially the same rules apply even if there's barely any room left to paint. The bombs weren't dry, so they didn't float, but that did not stop them from being loads of fun. The bombs start spewing festive colored foam almost as soon as it hits the water. Different colors and combinations throughout the entire bath bomb. Thanks for joining me today. Subscribe now for more creative bath inspiration. Check out the description for the recipes, helpful tips, and the supply list at the bottom.